This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
BooBaes.
Hi.
Hello and welcome to
BooBaes.
BooBaes. That's right. We're your hosts. I'm Caitlin.
And I'm Joshua.
And today we're here to talk to you about a new take on a cult classic.
Yes.
New continuation of the story.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes.
That being The Evil Dead Rise.
Evil Dead Rise. 2023.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah, saw this in the theater.
Yes, we saw it together.
We did. And it was,
Before I had ever seen the original, apparently.
Because then we covered the original.
Yeah, because then we covered the original, and I was like, yeah, this is definitely the first time I've seen this film.
But you know, it carries on, so it's you don't necessarily, they're not like the same storyline essentially, so you don't have to know. And rewatching this one as
there
well,
were some nods to the original though. That I think I appreciated more on the second watch.
Oh, because feel more
I'd
connected
seen
to the first one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because a lot of it is directly from, you know, all those little, what are they called? Easter eggs?
Easter eggs, yeah.
But this one as well, I feel like because they are trying to take it in a more updated and newer direction. They very, at the beginning, whenever, you know, Danny's getting the book and stuff like that, and he's listening to the thing, it's very specific in mentioning that is one of the 3 volumes.
Yeah.
So that's why this one looks different from the volume that we get from the original Evil Dead, and how this one's here and that one's over there. And so, yeah. Evil Dead Rise.
Makes sense.
It does. Do you want to just jump right into it?
Sure.
Let's get going.
We start out with one of the classic first-person POV shots.
Yes, we do.
Going through this swampy little area and to over a lake, and we figure out that we're following a drone.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
Because it's like... it's
bringing it into the 21st century.
Yeah, I loved that kind of thread of like making those things tie in, because it's like in the, you know... original, it's just like, that's the evil spirits, it's you know, and back then you're not thinking of that technology, and then you have the drone doing it. So yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah, it was cool.
It was so simple, but like had a big effect.
Yeah.
And then we are opened up to Miss Teresa and Caleb.
Cool. I never got her name.
Teresa. Yeah,
I just called her girl.
I only got it because of one subtitle thing really quick, but it was the only time I ever had Teresa ... and then every other time it was just like girl for some reason.
Weird.
Yeah. But we are opened up to them. They're at the lake on the dock, and she is getting annoyed by him because he's, you know, trying to show off the drone that almost just kind of like hit her as it whipped around her.
Yeah.
And
I'd be annoyed too if somebody flew a flying object with right propellers by my face.
Those can, I mean, obviously we see in a bit, but like real ones, like I feel like they can kill you, right?
Some damage. Yeah. Okay. Definitely severely hurt you.
I don't know what those propellers are made out of. So like plastic, or is it like metal?
It's spinning fast enough that I imagine it could cut you, even if it was plastic.
Because you know those little fans.
I imagine they wouldn't be metal. That would be dangerous.
Dangerous, right? Because you know those fans, the little handheld ones, and you know you always like with your tongue and like put it on your face and stuff, or your arm. Yeah. But yes, she is obviously annoyed with him, and she's asking about her cousin. She's asking about Jessica and how she's doing, and he's like, he mentioned some medicine.
Klonopin.
Yeah.
Klonopin.
She'll sleep off whatever is wrong with her. So she, you know, rightly so, is like gonna go check up on her cousin in the cabin, and we see that Miss Jessica looks like she's taking a nap, but
in a weird spot on the bed.
Yeah,
she's just
not
kind
covered,
of curled up towards the foot of the bed.
Yes.
Yeah, looking pretty. That's already just weird.
And
I don't know, but sometimes I do that when I'm not feeling well. You just like lay
sense.
in the first place that you can lay down, but it already gives creepy vibes.
The fetal position is very giveaway of like something's wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're like, yeah. But Teresa's asking her like, hey, like, since your friends didn't show up and like I don't want to be here with your boyfriend, can I just leave? And her cousin Jessica is not being too responsive, so she just decides to kind of plop down next to her, start to read a book.
Yeah, she's reading Wuthering Heights. And as she's reading it, all of a sudden she looks up and Jessica's sitting like straight up in the bed.
Yeah.
Which was fucking creepy, facing away from her. So she can't see what her face is doing, but she's just sitting straight up and then all of a sudden starts reciting line for line what she's reading in the book. And it's, of course, a creepier passage from Wuthering Heights saying, like, let me in, and talks about banging a small child's head on the door or something like that.
Have you read this book? Do you know what it is? I've never heard of it. I don't read.
Wuthering Heights, yeah, it's a classic.
Oh, okay.
I haven't read it, though.
Okay.
I just know of it.
Is it a scary book or like
I don't
regular
think
book?
so. I thought it was a love book.
Oh, okay. That makes
think.
sense. I just didn't know anything about it.
Maybe I'm completely wrong.
For reference. But yes, she's obviously this is freaking out Teresa because she's like, what the fuck? And she's like just yelling at her to stop. She yells at her to shut the fuck up, doesn't she?
Yeah, something like that.
And so
because it's weird because her voice starts distorting too,
like a demonic possession,
getting into lower pitches and stuff like that. And she's like, I don't like this.
I wish I could throw my voice like that. That'd be pretty cool.
That would be cool. Cool party trick.
It'd be cool for this podcast.
It would.
Yeah. And so then she ends up just like, as I thought it was the funniest way that she just like toppled over.
Oh yeah, the way she falls off the bed cracked me up. I remember laughing like pretty hardcore in the theater whenever I first saw it. I was just like,
just like a little like a fish, like a little plop, but like with like a little
kind of slops off
yeah,
the bed.
it's so funny. But she ends up on the floor. Obviously her cousin is like, what the fuck, runs up to her and she starts like seizing at the mouth, right? Or foaming at the mouth, sorry.
Yeah.
And kind of,
she throws up.
Yes.
And she's like, her cousin's trying to like turn her head because she is seizing as well and convulsing and trying to not have her choke on her own vomit and stuff like that. And then she goes still and she just all of a sudden then
opens her eyes
and chokes out Teresa. What's her name?
Teresa.
And then what does she say?
She starts to like get her hair and twang it in her fingers, twirl it, and something about like who's the
brainless meat puppet now?
There we go.
And rips off her scalp.
Yeah, just scalps her, like, and it's pretty. So your visuals are all there.
Yeah.
It looks intense, and honestly, I would never want that to happen to me.
No.
Seems a bit painful. Yeah. So poor Teresa just got her head fucking scalped, and so then we cut to Caleb is at the end of the dock, and we get like once again that like POV shot going towards him, and it's like kind of like slow and like waddling, and we realize that it's fucking Teresa and she's walking towards him scalped, and he's like, what the fuck? And then that's whenever we have Miss Jessica coming out, and she grabs the drone, right? And that's whenever she just like puts it up to her face. And what did she say before she cuts her face? She has a line. She has a lot of one-liners.
She does.
And then just cuts her face and falls into
her face with the drone.
Yeah, and falls into the lake. And
it like chunks her body into the lake too, with some force.
Yeah, for sure.
The way that the drone was powerful enough to kind of throw her body back. Yeah.
And he, I guess because he goes in to save her. If he would have known, I don't know, but he just goes in to save her to like be like, oh shit. And she ends up pulling him back down into the water after he pops up, and then yanking his head off somehow, and it just ends up on the dock. And
it was like not a clean decapitation either. No, it was like all jagged, and you could see like it like had part of like where his collarbone would be and stuff, and it's pretty nasty.
I mean, even his face is still moving and twitching.
Yeah.
And she rises out of the water, and
as she rises out, we get Evil Dead Rise rising above the tree line,
and with the very like noise that the music that they play. Yeah,
it was a good title card.
Yeah, very good. And
I liked her
right in the middle.
Yeah.
And so
it's very scenic, very picturesque, and I liked the way that it rose as she rose. And because it's called Evil Dead Rise, had the title card not risen, that would have been pretty dumb.
Yeah. It was
so they had to do it for the name.
And playing homage to all of the stuff that happened in the cabin and in the woodsy areas in the first one, and kind of tying that into this, which we find out is in a whole different setting.
Yeah. This one takes place inside of I didn't realize it was a Los Angeles.
They were in Los Angeles.
Yeah,
LA.
Los Angeles apartment complex. It gave New York.
Oh yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
But
very New York vibes.
But she did say I came here right from LAX. So
yes,
I was like,
and there's a couple other different references, and then that father Marcus whatever says is like the city of and Lost Angels or something like that. He does that.
The city of angels.
Yeah, but it all just reminds me of fucking Grand Theft Auto. And so we end up opening with our main character. I feel she's main character.
Yeah, she's our final girl.
Yeah, our final girl for sure. One of two. And she is in a restroom stall, kind of maybe going through a big scare in a woman's life who maybe isn't wanting or expecting a pregnancy, because she's taking this pregnancy test and she's already looking like, oh man,
real uncertain about it.
Yeah.
And freaking out as any woman would, especially if
someone who's not expecting it or planning for it. Yeah. And she is getting knocked on the door by one of her employees, trying to get more information, trying to ask her when she's gonna come out, asking some question that she's like, I already told you about that like an hour ago. And so he's like, oh, you okay? And she's like, I'm good. Let me
finish my business, please.
And
get
also,
the heck out.
Yeah, and also if someone's in the restroom, like, leave me alone.
Yeah,
like 5 minutes.
Wanting to have a conversation.
And so, we then very much cut to it's raining. We get out a cab, and she is at the building that we're gonna be at for the next entirety of the movie.
Yep.
I wish I had a name for it, but the building itself is like such a strong character in the film as well.
It's a dope building.
It is. It really is. And then
it's really cool.
The amount of time that we spent in it.
It's an old building.
And the character that it has because of that. Yeah. So she is there walking into the building. She is going up, and we get cut to an artist at a table, and she is making a tattoo gun or soldering or fixing it,
doing something with her tattoo gun. And this is how we slowly get introduced to the whole family and get all of their names.
Yes.
And so basically we find out, I've caught Ellie's name from the subtitles here. And then I get it later whenever Beth calls her Ellie, because obviously all the kids call her Mom.
Yeah.
So it was Mom or Ellie. And then we get Cassie coming up to her and basically saying that Bridget coming up to her and saying like, hey, where's my black t-shirt, my favorite black t-shirt? I want to wear it for the protest tomorrow or something.
Yeah.
And then you get like some traditional mom and daughter banter.
You're not going to go to that by yourself.
Yeah.
Someone's dad's going to take me. I told you. Yeah.
And then all that stuff. And then she yells at her and like, tell Danny to turn the music down. So we get Danny's name and introduced to Danny, who likes turntables and being like a little DJ of sorts.
Practicing his skills. And then we also get a quick cut to Miss Cassie, who is cutting a doll's head off with some scissors. And then we have Mom yelling at her, like, you better not have my scissors. In which case she hides them under the couch.
Which comes into play later.
A lot of foreshadowing in this beginning parts.
Yeah.
And then we have, excuse me, the kids all kind of doing their own thing. And then we have, she's creating Staphne, isn't she?
Yeah.
Miss Cassie.
Yeah. Bridget and Cassie start like kind of fighting, and they accidentally break Staphne, creating a nice sharp pointed edge for Staphne to use later.
Because she had the mop on her head. That's right. Yeah.
And so now Staphne's got a nice jagged pointed edge to kill.
And then it's like whenever Bridget looks at her and she's like, okay, does she think her little sister's about to kill her? But she runs into, Danny's room, closes the door, and he's kind of like,
he's playing to his crowd.
To his fake crowd, imaginary crowd in his head. I love how he's like, turns around and he's like, get out. Yeah. And so she's like, I would, and then they pull in Cassie. They have a little tickling fight. You can see that these...
No.
Reminds you of your family?
No, it reminds me of the scene in Hot Rod.
I've never
You've
seen
never
Hot
seen
Rod.
Hot Rod?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's this one scene where the younger brother is performing like karaoke to his stuffed animals.
Yeah.
And then, oh wait, no, that wasn't that scene. There's another scene where Rod's doing something in his room, and then the younger brother walks in, and he like yells at him, "Get out!" Because he's so embarrassed of what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love it.
It reminded me of that. Got to tie it back to my favorite movie.
And so, well, you always got to have a Hot Rod reference.
Yeah. Anyways, they're in there, and they open the door. They let Cassie in, and then we see that they've got a nice, sweet little bond going.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, play tickling her and stuff.
Yeah.
And, they're just all laughing, having a good time.
You can tell that this family cares about each other. And I think that's what they're really trying to build up.
They did a really great job of like introducing and setting the scene and the character, like who each of these people were in like 5 minutes.
Very much so.
They did a really good job of that.
Because they make us care about them very immediately.
Yeah.
And we're going to take a break. It is 12 o'clock for us here. I don't know what that means for... Yeah, so
15 minutes in.
About 15. Oh, yeah, that's right. So we're about 15 minutes in on our marker. So taking a break. Eat you a donut hole, maybe.
Do you want to eat lunch with me after this?
I have to go to Molly. I have work to do, unfortunately. I was planning to go this morning, but I was doing homework this morning, and it took me way longer than I thought it was going to take me. So I have to go do some work after this, and then I have to go to HEB. But then I might be free around 2:33. But that's when you have to go to work, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to come back in now.
Okay. Well, basically now Beth is at the door.
That's right.
They did a great job of introducing everyone to us. Beth is here, and so now we've got the whole family all together. Beth is Ellie's sister. And they're kind of sitting down talking
around the table about like Bangkok and her trip, and she's got gifts for them. You can tell that she's like that fun aunt that like comes and goes, and like, oh, we don't know when she's gonna show up. Oh, what she's got for us. She's got stories to tell. She's a traveler. Yeah. And so we have them kind of talking. We have Staphne getting introduced by Miss Cassie to Beth, then her telling her that she'll protect the family and she'll protect them if anything goes wrong. And then that's whenever we have
because there was like an old ghost in the building, supposedly, and we hear that it was a ghost of one of the old people who worked in the bank. And so if he ever hears coins jiggling in your pocket, he'll come get you. But it's very important to know that this building used to be a bank
built on top of that. Yeah. And then we have someone calling her a groupie, one of the kids, right? Or is it mom?
The mom says like, don't get her involved in your groupie antics.
That's right.
Then Cassie goes, what's a groupie?
And she's like, what your mom calls me, but I am not a groupie. I'm a guitar technician. Yeah. And so she basically goes around like with like, on tour, on the road with bands, or maybe seeing solo musicians to like fix their equipment and always be on staff, like a guitar doctor, basically. Yeah. Because they're always going to need one. And so
guitars break rather easily.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then like being in different cities and all that, you can't always find one, so you just got to have one on hand.
Yeah, exactly. But she pulls out a present for the dad, which she had already kind of made a comment about Jay. And the mom kind of brushed it off. And then she pulls out this present and was like, look what I got for your dad. And then all the kids are like,
yikes. And she's like, what's going on, guys?
And then mom's like, Danny, take my car and go get pizza. Take the girls, go get pizza. So all three kids leave so the adults can basically talk. And they're talking through, basically, Ellie's explaining, that Jay decided to leave and is not paying child support because he believes that's co-parenting from afar, which is bullshit. You're also legally bound to pay child support, but whatever. And unless I guess they weren't legally married. Then in which, but if he's the father,
they were married. I feel because they were talking about. Well, I don't know.
If he actually fathered them, I believe he's required.
Yeah,
so it'll eventually catch up to him. I mean, granted, most of the kids die, so R.I.P.
He's out of that one.
Yep. He
Well, and
only has
also-
to pay for gassing
Well, I
now.
don't know how that works because like all of this seems so hard to explain as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, yeah, like at the end, that's one of my notes too. I'm just like, how does this get explained?
Yeah.
Like by Beth, like how, and
Because that's going to look like she just
went crazy and killed
shoved
everybody.
him in a meat grinder.
Yeah,
or
everybody.
a tree wood chipper.
And not
thing.
just that, even all the bodies upstairs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The neighbors. Yeah.
'Cause they're all up there. And then they're not normal wounds either.
No,
They're
very.
like eyeballs
People did it.
bit out.
Someone was, very murder.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's crazy.
It is.
They're going to have to set the whole building on fire. Part 2.
Basically.
And so, yes, we have her and Beth talking about the separation, about all of this stuff. And then Beth is like, you should have called me. You should have let me know. I would have been here. And Ellie's like, bitch, I did. Like,
I called
not
you
like that.
twice,
Yeah.
actually.
The day that he told me he wanted to be away from me or separate or something, and the day that he left.
Yep.
And she's like, what? And she's like, yeah. And then Ellie's just basically like shutting down the conversation because she's just like kind of like, you know what? I'm annoyed now. So I've got to pack and I've got to move because this building, I think she mentioned earlier, it's condemned and we have only a month to get out.
Yep, exactly.
And she's probably super hella stressed because she also said they haven't found a place to live yet. So mom's under a lot of pressure.
Which is terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you have 3 kids.
Yeah, to take
deal
care
with.
of. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And be provider
That
for.
sounds bad. Not deal with.
But yeah.
to take care of, yes.
Well, I don't know. Eventually she's like, I'm free of you titty suckers.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Titty sucking parasites.
Yeah. So
the mom has so many good one-liners in this.
She really does. And we do have then the kids coming back with some pizza. They show up to the building. It looked like
good pizza too.
It did, didn't it? It was such a shame because we pull up to the building. We get introduced to a gate that doesn't come up that easy. So that's foreshadowing for something later.
Mm-hmm.
And we are in the parking garage while Mom and Beth are kind of having a heart-to-heart moment as she's trying to play the voicemails. And then they're in the restroom kind of chatting and
and she's about to tell her that she's pregnant,
yes,
but doesn't quite get the words out
because we're interrupted by an earthquake.
5.5 magnitude earthquake, as we find out later. So pretty. I don't really know much about earthquakes, but that's pretty big.
Yeah, I would assume so.
And because it literally creates a giant like fissure. This ground breaks, cracks, and then creates a rather small hole, actually.
Enough for a human boy to get through.
Yep, enough for Danny to get into.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he does. Danny follows the little cracks in the ground till he gets to a hole, and he's like, hey, look, guys, I found a hole.
Yeah, literally.
And he's like, there's stuff down here. And just bloop, slips on down, which is so dangerous because the building could have been so
You know what? In that moment, because there are aftershocks and he shouldn't have done that. And I would love to say that I would think about that too.
But I wouldn't. I would
go into the hole.
Yeah.
It seems kind of like, oh, cool. Like there's stuff down here.
Yeah.
But you're right. Oh man. See, I didn't even think about that until you just mentioned that. There could be aftershocks. And so then that thing could collapse
and that's
on
what
you.
Bridget even yells at him. She's like, there could be after effects, like aftershocks, like don't go down there. And he's just like, nope.
No, I'm just going to bloop the loop. He's an explorer.
Slithers on down.
He's like Dora or Diego. And so that's whenever...
He could be Dora.
He could be both.
Yeah.
And so that's whenever Danny's down there and it's like, looks very like the old vault and bank, the old vault to the bank, with all those little drawers and stuff. And then like a big vault with the...
lock boxes.
That's what they're called. Yeah.
And then, the big actual, what you think of as a bank vault.
When they've got like the bars and like that big old spinning
little spinny
round
wheel thing
door
that opens
opener.
Got all the cogs and stuff.
Why can't I think of the name for that?
A
handle? It's basically a handle.
It looks like
fancy.
Like a ship wheel, though.
Yeah, there you go. And so
like one of those biggins.
He gets in there, a biggins, and
Piggins.
He gets in there, and we are looking at just basically he pulls this box and he opens it up, and it just happens to have like these old vinyl records in it, and
pictures of priests that are holding this book.
And then he ends up as he's looking at all that stuff, he kind of hears some noises, and then he turns around and this like big old crucified Jesus
falls on
wooden
him.
piece just like falls right on him. And
I really wish he would have gone, Jesus.
Right?
That would have been
funny. It would have fell in line with the movie's kind of sense of humor as well. And so then he gets out from under that, but he notices that it's like adjacent to another room that has like all these little rosaries, right, hanging down with crosses on them. And then it ends up being essentially a tomb, because there is this big old what are those called, a tomb? But like the box, big old
like a
with the
coffin.
like a coffin sarcophagus,
above the ground,
and
as if we were in like a mausoleum.
And the little box stone thing cracks on the side, and you can see that there's a little hole there. And at the same time, we're hearing like these noises that he's hearing, that kind of give, Evil Dead that tie in with the book. And he reaches in, he pulls out something from there, and we see that it is wrapped up in this like sheath,
like a little shroud.
Shroud. And he sees it's moving underneath, and so he opens it up, and all these bugs just start flying around him. And
gross.
Very gross. And they go away very quickly, but then he realizes that it's a book, and it looks very like skin, veiny, and it has like the little binding of like the little,
it reminds me of the book from
Harry Potter. Okay, no.
Well,
from Hocus Pocus.
Okay, is what I was gonna say. Yeah,
There,
especially with the like teeth.
Yeah.
And stuff, and Harry Potter as well.
Do you know which one I'm talking about? That one that he gets attacked by in like the third one or fourth one. And so we end up, he's at this whole time as well. His Bridget's like yelling for him, trying to get him to come back out. And then that's whenever we do have Ellie upstairs back with the neighbors, and she is trying to get a hold of someone's cell phone because no, she's just trying to get a hold of Gabe because she needs his car, because why couldn't
trying to get a hold of anyone who has a car, because she's trying to call their cell phones, but there's no service
because the kids took her car to get the pizza. That's right. She didn't know, they didn't know that they were down there.
Because she has no clue that they're there, and she's thinking, oh my God, it's taking a long time for them to get back. What is happening? Like something happened to them
while they were out in the earthquake. And so she ends up getting Gabriel, the neighbor, comes out and is like, you know what, I'll drive you, the hot neighbor. And so that's whenever we also have Beth getting introduced to the older neighbor, and he's like, oh, you're the groupie. And she's like, and she looks to Ellie, and I love how Ellie's like, oops. And then just in the nick of time, the kids show up on the elevator, and we get a whole little moment where she's like, oh, I love you kids more than pizza, because Cassie's like, we dropped the pizza.
Bridget dropped the pizza.
And so
honestly, the pizza still looked fine.
It did. She could have brought it up
anyway.
I would have ate it like that. It's like with the spoon.
Get a little spoon, take it off the top of the pizza box. It might taste a little bit like cardboard, but that's fine.
I had pizza yesterday,
and it tasted like cardboard,
and it tasted so good. No, and
where is it from?
Pizza Hut, and I would literally eat it. I would eat pizza again today.
I was just thinking of going to get pizza for lunch. I was going to go to Union Hall across the street.
Oh, it's so good.
Or across the way and get some of their pizza.
I don't have time. I can go with you.
Okay.
And then I'll go do the work. Okay.
Yeah. Tell Molly's they can wait.
It can. Yeah, I can.
I ate my burrito for dinner yesterday.
Oh, yeah, you did eat it.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, because I gave it to you Saturday, right? Yesterday was Sunday. My whole days are mixed up because of... Anyways.
I ended up not really eating dinner
that
Saturday.
Day? Got it.
And then Sunday, I woke up, ate some yogurt, and then immediately passed back out. And then was like, I feel like death.
I need to eat something.
And then I finally ate later in the day.
Yeah.
And ate the burrito.
Well, good. I'm glad you ate it.
It was delicious.
It was made with love.
Always go to Molly's, y'all. But yeah, then basically the kids are up in the room, and Danny's kind of showing Bridget all this shit that he found.
Yep.
And Bridget calls it right away. She was like, weird shit like this, like, gets locked away for a reason.
Exactly.
We don't mess with this kind of stuff. She was like, put it back tonight. And he was like, Mom's not going to let us out. And so she says, well, then first thing in the morning. Unfortunately first thing in the morning's too late.
Little too late, yes. And I mean, I can see his intentions where he was like, we can sell this, and you know, he was trying to look out for his family and for his mom, and like, we really need the money.
Yeah.
But also have some discernment and some good judgment, because boy, that book looked evil.
It did.
Like, even if you were to sell it, like
the fact that it had like little teeth for
the fact that bugs came and like surrounded
Yeah.
you, and then there were crosses, and
we've
the
seen The
teeth.
Mummy.
And yeah, right. I know this child looked like he liked alternative things and probably liked horror movies. I'm
Yeah.
like, you know better. Come on
You know
now.
better than this, kiddo.
But anyways, unfortunately, we learn the things the hard way in life, don't we? And so all that is going on, and at the same time, Ellie's, you know, trying to clean up around the house and do all these things. And so after it had like pricked his blood and absorbed it, and they're looking at the pictures.
Yeah, because he like tried to open it from what would be the latch kind of thing,
Mhm.
but it's just fucking teeth.
Yep.
It sliced his finger open and blood got on the book. And I mean, I would have also been like, ew, the
Yeah.
moment that book like absorbed it,
Yeah.
because it wasn't normally. It
was very
kind of
visual.
sit there, but it went like,
Right into it.
Yeah.
Very smart house.
so I was
And-
like,
And so that's whenever we cut to at the same, you know, so Bridget told him her 2 cents. She ends up leaving, but of course he immediately goes back and starts reading and looking into it. And at the same time, we cut to Miss Beth and Cassie in the tub. She's gonna get in, take a little bath. Cassie's in her full bathing suit because she's like, I got stung at the beach and I don't want to get stung in the
I need to
bathtub.
see under the water
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing.
And which is, you know, I get it, because when I would go
Child's.
swimming in my pool, I would be afraid if I was under the water too long with my eyes closed, I would get eaten by a shark.
Yeah, I used to be afraid sharks would come get me in the pool too.
And it's a pool. Like, what are they doing there?
Yeah,
They could
Literally
impossible.
can't.
Impossible. It would die.
Yeah,
With like not being in its
with all
environment.
this chlorine.
Literally. And so for some reason though, I had that irrational fear that like, no, like someone could like drop it in
Mm-hmm.
and I wouldn't know.
I mean, it probably wouldn't die fast enough. It'd probably
Right?
be able to eat you.
And it thrashed me and it's freaking out. It'd
Mhm.
kill me. Anyways, and so we're doing the bath, and then that's whenever Danny starts to play the records, the vinyl records that came along with the whole set of this book, and that's whenever we start to kind of get the background of what he has. And so we have a priest getting heard on the little table turner that he has, and it's saying, you know, and I love how he's just playing it out loud as well, not even on headphones. So like, this is for everybody to hear.
Yeah, I was like, how is no one like peeking into his room being
Yeah,
like,
like,
what the fuck are you listening
Fuck
to?
is that? Yeah.
This sounds demonic.
Because it's very much like a clergy of people, of priests. They're all coming together, and it's Father Marcus, and he's talking to them, and he's saying, I have found what, you know, this, you know, holy book and text,
One
not
of
holy,
3 fabled volumes
of the Naturam de Monta, the Book of the
aka
Dead.
The Book of the Dead.
Yeah, it's made of flesh, inked in blood, and he was trying to get approval by all of them in the church to translate it, to find out more and to connect more with, I guess, the other side, with spirits. And obviously, and all you hear are people in the background saying like, no, boo, tomato, tomato, burn it. This is heresy. This is, you know, that's a demonic book. We need to get rid of it. And so then we have him pulling out other records, and after also as well, after hearing that one, maybe you'd think like, okay, I got it.
Maybe not gonna mess with this.
But then he gets the other records and
It's
starts
like,
playing
I need
them.
to hear it.
And so that's whenever we hear Father Marcus explaining that, you know, he has been shunned basically by the church for wanting to translate this and learn more into it. And him and 2 other priests took it upon themselves to explore, to unleash its whatever. And so he starts to recite the
First of the spiritual resurrection passages.
and
we figure out that it's also 2 from January 24th, 1923. So it's been a hot second since this has been unearthed.
100 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then that's whenever the spell or incantation starts getting recited, and immediately Danny tries or wants to like stop it.
When did this come out? Was it in January? Did we go see it in January?
I don't remember honestly, but
That'd
I
be
feel like
pretty
it
cool.
had to, because it's been a minute since it's been out. I think it came out in March though.
Yeah, March sounds more right.
I feel like it came out in March.
Missed opportunity.
It's April. Yeah, it came out in April. Yeah.
Damn, that feels like such a long time ago.
Right? It really does. And so he's trying to stop it, but it's just the spirits evil has taken over, and so like it won't let him. It like sparks at him whenever he tries to stop it. I think he even tries to pull the plug, and it just keeps going. But the incantation starts to get recited, and that's whenever we do see as Ellie has left and she's getting into the elevator and wanting to go down.
She looks at the stairs.
Yeah, she does, doesn't she?
Because she had just told the kids
Don't take the stairs.
to never take the elevator after an earthquake.
That's right. Yeah.
And
she does that exact same thing.
Then she does it herself. And what happens? The elevator, like,
it goes all the way down and it opens, but that's whenever the evil dead or whatever comes into it and then just blasts her back into the elevator.
All the way back up to the
whatever floor they're on. This had to be a really tall building as well, because didn't they say like you have to go through like 80 something?
82.
82 or something like that?
The room number.
Oh, okay.
So maybe they're on the 8th floor.
Oh, okay. Got it. Not me thinking this place had like 80 something floors.
Oh, no, I think it looked like it was definitely at least like
20 stories building, like this building.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I know.
That elevator goes up really fast.
Yeah.
As well.
Whenever I was watching this, I was like, God damn it, what is it with
the past two movies
and elevators and us having to go immediately get into a giant elevator, really tall elevator right after this.
And the old spooky building. Let's take the stairs after this.
Okay.
We'd get stopped by security. They'd be like, what are you doing
on this floor?
And we're like, we just want to take the stairs.
We're scared of the elevator.
And so anyways, we do have her getting attacked in the fucking elevator. Well, kind of not at first, but like, because at first it's invisible, so she's like, what's going on? Because then like, you know, she's getting like kind of thrown around after, you know, the elevator have gone all the way up. I mean, that was pretty weird and supernatural in itself. Yeah. But because she like gets
she was,
up
like, stuck
and she's
to the
floor.
Yeah.
At first, right? And then like, she gets up,
stuck to the walls herself. And stuff too.
Because she's getting pinned up by the evil spirits.
Yeah,
the
and
force. The force, literally. It's the Sith. And so she ends up having the cables from the elevator like wrap around her and pull her up.
Very
and it's
much
a very paying homage
of the tree
of the original Evil Dead, and just kind of all around getting fucked by
not
the
literally
evil spirits. Yes. Yeah.
Like the first
like
movie.
The first one. Yeah. It's pretty
I love
brutal,
how at
though.
one point they're like all growling and the like noises are all happening and she just yells, "Shut the fuck up!" And then all of it stops
and it gets quiet.
It listens to her for a second and
really
then it's like,
then it's like,
nah. That's when it goes ham on her.
Yeah,
and ends up like destroying her.
And so after all this is happening, we have a total blackout of the building, and so we have the kids and Beth inside, and they're like, "Whoa, what's going on?" And so Bridget checks, and it's just them. So they're
only
Beth is
in their building.
Beth is like, "Ugh, of course, like what the fuck?" And so that's whenever Beth and Cassie go looking for mom, but she's not in her bed, and they're kind of all just kind of looking around, and it's a matter of seconds. Mom actually walks in, and they see her walk in, but she doesn't look all okay. And then
she looks like just the way she's standing was creepy.
The stance.
I was like, no, no, thank you.
And she ends up going to the kitchen, and that's whenever mom starts to like want to cook breakfast. I guess evil mom.
She starts cracking eggs in a pan. Which, first off, why were these eggs not refrigerated?
Yeah.
Can you just leave eggs out?
No, you can't.
Okay, I didn't think so. But they were just sitting there on the countertop. So that was weird. But she starts breaking the eggs in the pan, like shells and all, not like properly breaking them. She's just
some of them had blood,
chunking them, and probably her blood too.
Oh yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Because she was all bloodied up.
That's true.
And then she basically says, "I had the most wonderful dream. I had a dream, that we were all in a tall, like, forest kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it was just such a beautiful day. And all I could think about was how I wanted to cut you open so I could crawl inside your bodies and be with you forever, kind of thing."
It's kind of beautiful.
It was, yeah. Just wanting to be with someone so much that you need to be inside of them.
I want to wear you like a skin suit. Yep. And so they're like, okay, that's weird. And so that's whenever they're like, "Are you okay?" And she turns around and she starts like walking weird towards them, right?
Yeah, she kind of like crawls on the ground in one of those weird, creepy ways. Yeah, where the elbow's like leading.
Yeah.
And it's like
a demon would, I guess.
Demon walk.
Yeah, and so they're like, okay, and she's talking really evilly.
And she says, "It's in me."
Mm-hmm, and then ends up vomiting like this white visceral stuff all over the floor. And they're like, oh my God. And then she just
like way more than a body could humanly hold of liquid.
And then for like a quick moment, the humanity kind of comes back to her face, and she looks at Beth, and she's like, "Don't let it take my babies."
Yeah.
And just a dingo took my baby.
A dingo took my baby.
And she ends up just falling to the ground. And so mom's kind of knocked out. Yeah, and the puke, which is gross. Yeah. And so unfortunately, they're like, "Oh my God!" And so they end up trying to take her out and get her to like, I guess they're gonna try to get her to the hospital or something. So they try to get her to the stairs. But the stairs are gone, or to the elevator, I think at first. But then they see that the elevator's fucked up because mom just
elevator's
got
like just
literally
opening. The doors are opening and closing. Mm-hmm. It looks rough.
Oh yeah, because mom just got
attacked in there
by the demon cables, and so the stairs are completely gone. Unfortunately, I don't know if that was because of the
earthquake, I'm assuming.
Right? Yeah, had to be.
And then that must be why the building's condemned, because clearly it's not structurally sound.
Or we're like, because when mom looked at it earlier, the stairs weren't broken apart.
Well, she didn't look
all the way in, right? Okay.
Yeah, we just got a shot of her stopping in front of the exit sign, and then she walks past it.
Okay, that's why I was trying to. I was like, I don't remember. So, because yeah, I got it. But I feel like the evil had a part of that too somehow.
Trapped him in.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know. And so
I feel because like the elevator evil had to do with the earthquake in general,
right? And
because
the way that
it was wanting to be found.
I feel like that.
I feel like it had a part of an evil force that did the earthquake.
It's all connected. It's all in the same universe. And so that's whenever we have them trying to leave and they can't, essentially because the stairs are broken, the elevator's broken. Then we have I think that's essentially when they're just like, fuck, because we look at her laying on the ground and she looks pretty dead. So we just have them in the bedroom, and she's talking to Gabe and the older neighbor about like, 1 minute we were talking about this and the next minute she's dead, and
she looks like she's decayed, like a whole full life cycle of decaying in a matter of minutes. She looks bad.
Even the older neighbor, he's like, it looks like someone beat her the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like, it looks like someone beat her up. Like, why does she look like that? And then Gabe is like trying to close her eyes, but they won't close. And then he's like, can I pray? And she's like, she wasn't religious, but whatever. You can.
He's like, it's only a few words. Let me say it. So they all join hands and they pray over her body. And then they're basically saying like, we need to go find help and get someone up here to like deal with this situation. And they're saying like, but how can we get down? And then Gabe was like, there's an old fire escape. We could go down the fire escape. And that's when they say you'd have to get through room 82.
Yeah.
And
he's like, oh, that's the uninhabited what's it called? What's the level?
Yeah, floor.
I think it's floor. I think that's what they said. Was it a floor or just a room?
Room. I think it's a room.
Oh, okay. Well, they'd have to go through that. And then that's whenever we do have Beth by herself, right? With Ellie?
Yeah.
Oh, well, because they're out there trying to get the doors open and all that and trying to find a way out.
The old man's trying to get a shotgun, which we know that he has a shotgun, which does play a small part later.
Later on, comes back. And so Beth is with Ellie and she's like, talking to her. She's like, I can't believe I'm never going to be able to talk to you again. Like, you were always the one who basically was there for everybody. Like, you did everything. And so that's whenever we hear the voicemail going off on Beth's phone. But then it turns into Ellie saying, I'm burning in hell, please save me.
Yeah, she's burning alive.
And then the phone just cracks, and then we have Ellie twitching, right? Her eyes open, and
then she sits up in bed.
And then Beth is like, what the fuck? But then the kids, and then she starts talking, and then the kids come in and are like, is mom alive? And then that's when Beth is like, she's burning up. So they get her to the bathtub and try to put ice in it to get her in the water. And then they do end up putting her in there, and she's like starts sizzling, doesn't she?
Yeah, and she's like kind of thrashing about and stuff. And then all of a sudden she jumps to the ceiling. She gets out of the water and you can see that the water's boiling beneath her, which was cool. And then when she jumps onto the ceiling, she then just screams. And then the way she passes out into the water is very much like Jessica falling off the bed in the beginning. It was kind of comical. But then also I had to think, oh my God, that water was boiling a second ago. But I mean, I guess if she's burning up and she's a demon, it's fine.
Yeah. But it was just the way that her body has it's like full control and then just like dead weight just
bloom, falls out.
Yeah.
And then we get my favorite line of the movie. Yay.
Yeah, because we have
Mommy's with the maggots now.
Literally, she's coming up. They're like, Mom. And that's when she says that. And that's whenever she ends up getting out of the water and like running towards Beth and Danny, and they like get out the restroom. They're freaked out, and then we see her come out of the restroom, all creepy like, and she has a shard of glass from the mirror in her hand.
It's a really cool shot that they do with the reflection of the mirror, where you can see Bridget in the background.
Yes,
with the shard in her hand. It was a really cool shot. I like that.
Yeah, and she gets out there and she starts to talk to them. And she's not really. She's looking at Danny. She's looking at Beth, and she's like gonna go at one of them. And she ends up lunging towards Beth. And as Bridget's, coming out and like yelling at her to stop, but she ends up stabbing Beth in the hand, which is pretty gnarly.
Ouchie. Ooh, because it went through
all
pretty
the way through,
hard,
and it's a big shard. And she pulls it back out, and that's whenever Bridget is like, what's wrong with you? What's going on? And she's like, what did she say?
She says, I'm free now.
Yeah.
Free from all you titty-sucking parasites.
And ends up attacking Bridget. And she uses the tattoo gun to, like, stab herself. And then she ends up trying to put it onto Bridget. Almost gets her eye. And then... Yeah,
which was scary because it gives you a nice close-up shot. And I was like, oh, fuck, are they going to do that right now? They didn't. No. The eyeball comes in a second.
Yeah, but she ends up scratching her cheek. But Danny, like, knocks her out.
Poisoned blood.
And Danny knocks her out off of Bridget. And then that's whenever we have her kind of like going into the darkness. And then we have Gabe coming in for some reason.
Yeah. He probably heard all the commotion and was
right.
like, what
they
the
heard the
fuck's
scream.
going on?
That's right.
Yeah. And then he's like, what the hell's going on? And then she just like attacks Gabe.
Yeah.
She jumps on him and she's like, I mean, Gabe was holding his own with a whole grown-ass woman on him. He was still standing upright.
But then she ends up just like biting into his face.
Yep, and bites his eyeball out. And then she like
coughs it up.
Swishes it around in her mouth. Yeah, coughs it up and then coughs it into the little boy's mouth. And he ends up choking on this eyeball.
Yeah, very
Which
camp.
was,
And
gross.
even the noise that it makes where it's like...
Bloop.
Yeah. And
it's like whenever I eat grapes, for some reason, I like put them in between my lips and then go... And I like suck them into my mouth.
Oh, I know what you mean.
And it makes like a cool popping sound.
Yeah.
I do it because I like the sound.
Okay.
And
I do it because I like the sound. I'm gonna put that on a bumper sticker for you.
Beep beep.
But that's cool. Yeah, I know what you mean. I've done that before.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do it a little too fast and it scares you because you almost like choke on it.
Yeah, it hits you in your uvula and you're like.
Yeah. And so we have Gabe unfortunately losing his eye, getting choked on by the little boy. Then Ellie banging her head on the front door trying to get in because Beth just like, basically closed the door shut and left everybody out there with her. And then we have another little boy getting thrown across the room. It looked like his arms were torn off.
Yeah, poor little boy was wrecked.
And then we have her, Gabe, knocking on the door, begging to be let back in, but she ends up slashing his throat.
Right there. I loved
and the
all
keyhole?
Of these keyhole scenes. Yeah, so cool.
Mm-hmm.
It was really, really neat. And the way you just see his throat get slit. And it almost looked like, like whenever in like Nightmare Before Christmas when they cut into the teddy bear's tummy and the cotton just kind of spews out.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like his neck did.
Gotcha.
Like his
no, for sure.
It was just like
because she just did that
it wasn't just nails. Blood that came out. It was like muscle tissue and stuff came out too,
kind of like real life.
Yeah.
Gross. And so then that's whenever we have the older neighbor shooting her with a shotgun, but she ends up turning the tables on him and being able to drag him down and kill him. And so all this is happening. And Beth is just like, what the fuck? And so she tries to go out the outside window, but they're way too high up. So they can't leave out the window.
Yeah, and she was trying to get someone's attention too, but the rain,
it's too loud.
It was too loud and no one could hear her. So
and Bridget at this point is also like yelling at Danny, telling him it's his fault that all this is happening. And
she was like, "Don't you think Mom looked just like one of the pictures from that book?" Mm-hmm. And they start fighting, and then all of a sudden Bridget, we flash to a scene of Bridget and Cassie in the living room, and Danny kind of went into his room or something. He went away, but Bridget's just kind of sitting there, and she's acting weird. The way that she sits up was very like, ugh.
Oh.
Choo-choo.
Choo-choo. It's the Evil Dead coming for us.
Don't know if you can hear that, but if you can't,
if I can hear it, I think they can hear it.
Yeah.
It's okay, you guys. We'll have to talk over it.
$1 pickle shots at Billy Bob's.
Really? Right now?
Yeah, let's run.
Let's do it. Oh, because of the train. That's right. I forget that's what they do. And so we have
Jesus Christ.
I think we'll just wait.
Did you know you could be putting oil and chemicals in your coffee? I love coffee creamer, but I don't think I've ever turned the bottle around to actually see what's inside. When I did, I found out many of my favorite creamers contain ingredients I would never intentionally add to my coffee cup, like canola oil, dipotassium phosphate, and artificial flavors. Laird Superfood all started when big wave surfer Laird Hamilton needed morning fuel that could allow him to spend the entire day chasing the ultimate wave. He couldn't find anything in the market that met his ingredient standards, so made himself the ultimate plant-based creamer. Laird Superfood started and launched its first product, Original Superfood Creamer, in 2015. Laird Superfoods contain no artificial flavors, colors, or additives, and no sugars from highly refined corn syrup. All Laird products are sustainably sourced and thoroughly tested to ensure that you're incorporating the cleanest, finest fuel into your routine. All Laird products are also made of all-natural whole food ingredients, and they are crafted from the highest quality all-natural real food ingredients. Are you ready to feel more energized, focused, and supported? Go to lairdsuperfood.com and add nourishing plant-based foods to fuel you from sunrise to sunset. Use our promo code BOO at checkout to save 15% off your purchase today.
I love smoothies, but I don't love smoothie bar prices. With my BlendJet 2 portable blender, I can make smoothie bar quality beverages for a fraction of the price. BlendJet 2 is portable, so you can blend up a smoothie at work, a protein shake at the gym, or even a margarita on the beach. It's small enough to fit in a cup holder, but powerful enough to blast through tough ingredients like ice and frozen fruit with ease. BlendJet 2 is whisper quiet, so you can make your morning smoothie without waking the whole house. Lasts for 15 plus blends and recharges quickly via USB-C. Best of all, BlendJet 2 cleans itself. Just blend water with a drop of soap and you're good to go. There are also over 30 plus colors to choose from. I myself chose black because it matches the color of my soul. What are you waiting for? Go to blendjet.com and grab yours today. And be sure to use the promo code BOO12 to get 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping. No other portable blender on the market comes close to this quality, power, and innovation of the BlendJet 2. They guarantee you'll love it or your money back. Blend anytime, anywhere with the BlendJet 2 portable blender. Go to blendjet.com and use the code BOO12 to get 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping. Shop today and get the best deal ever. Did you know that dehydration is the leading cause of daytime fatigue? I was shocked to learn that even mild dehydration can cause headaches, muscle weakness, and brain fog. But luckily, there's a solution. Cure Hydration is an oral rehydration solution that contains the perfect balance of electrolytes and glucose to help your body absorb water and rehydrate quickly. The formula is made with all natural ingredients like coconut water, powder, and pink Himalayan salt, and is free from artificial flavors, sweeteners, and preservatives. Cure Hydration is vegan, gluten-free, and non-GMO, making it a great option for anyone with dietary restrictions or preferences. The packets are convenient and easy to use. Just mix with water and drink. They're perfect for on the go, travel, or anytime you need a quick and effective hydration boost. Hydration is more than just drinking water. That's what Lauren Picasso, a lifelong endurance athlete, discovered as she struggled to stay hydrated no matter how much water she drank. Lauren founded Cure, a science-backed electrolyte drink mixed to make hydrating easy for everyone. Cure believes that hydration should be simple and effective, but also clean and natural. That's why they use only the highest quality plant-based ingredients and avoid any artificial or harmful additives. They're committed to transparency and honesty. All of their ingredients are clearly listed on their website and packaging, and they're always happy to answer any questions or concerns. Ready to combat dehydration? Try Cure today and feel the difference for yourself. Use code BOO for 20% off your order.
Are you tired of the same old boring puzzles? Mix things up with Wongo puzzles. Each puzzle is a custom design with intricate patterns and whimsical shapes that will keep you engaged for hours. Plus, their eco-friendly materials and commitment to sustainability make Wongo puzzles a guilt-free way to unwind. Wongo puzzles are 100% wooden puzzles, meaning they'll last forever. Each piece is hand-drawn, so no two pieces are the same, and you'll discover some fun, whimsy pieces as you work through it. They come in a custom wooden box, which is perfect for storage and gifting. With stunning design and unique shapes, Wongo puzzles are a cut above the rest. So what are you waiting for? Go to wongopuzzles.com and pick your puzzle today. And be sure to use the promo code BOO and get 10% off of your order. This is the most fun you've had with a puzzle, guaranteed, or your money back. Go to Wongo, WONGO, puzzles.com and use the code BOO to get 10% off your order and get puzzling right now. Wongo. Okay.
I think we're good.
Yeah.
So sorry, guys, whoever is editing this at some point, at the hour mark ish.
Yeah.
We had to stop because the train was a little bit loud. So we're coming back in. Bridget got up because she is obviously getting taken over by the Evil Dead possession monster.
And you can tell because she's acting weird. And Cassie's like,
Are you okay?
Are you okay? And she's like, I'm fine.
And so at the same time that this is going on, we have Danny, who was showing Aunt Beth the book and everything that he found.
That's right.
And so that's whenever at that same time, because Bridget left Cassie alone, Cassie ends up getting lured by her mom to the front door because she hears her singing
lullaby kind of thing.
And at the same time, Bridget is looking at her wound in a mirror in the kitchen. She turns on the heat so that way the flame so she can see. And then Danny shows the records to Aunt Beth and he's telling her, like, I played these and I listened to these. And so that's whenever Aunt Beth is like, okay, this is all pretty weird. And then that's whenever the pages in the book start turning, and then we see that the page on the depiction, the caricature ends up looking to what's about to happen to Bridget, because she ends up having all this black ooze or blood coming out of her mouth, her nose, her eyes,
ears, too.
and then she like throws up worms or maggots, like black maggots,
puking little bugs of sorts. They looked like little, like almost like roly-polies.
Yeah.
It was pretty gross. And
all at the same time that Cassie was getting lured in and trying to get convinced by the mom to, like, it's me, I'm fine, I'm better now, your dad's here. Your dad
is out here.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. We're getting back together. We're in love and stuff like that. And so then she's like, okay.
And opens the door.
But
the mom ends up attacking her and grabbing her. But just in time, Beth is able to like close the door on Ellie, and they, are able to separate her and Cassie. And then, Ellie is just yelling at Beth, calling her a groupie and like whatever.
She says, open the door like you open your legs, you stinky groupie slut.
Yeah. And obviously Beth is like, I'm not a groupie, you psycho bitch.
Fucking bitch.
And she tells the kids to go to the room. But at the same time, I'm also thinking, like, why aren't we checking on Bridget? But anyways, Cassie's like, Stephanie's going to protect us, Danny. It's going to be okay. And Danny looks like, we're fucking screwed.
Stephanie can't do shit.
Yeah. But then we go to the kitchen because we hear all the commotion. And Bridget is in there and she's chewing on glass.
Yep. Beth finds her and she says, I've got to kill the creepy crawlies I got inside my tummy.
I don't like creepy crawlies inside my tummy.
Yep. And she's just chewing on the glass. And I love how you can see the glass going down her throat as she swallows it. And it, like, you can see it even like poke through her skin, which was wild.
Pretty gnarly.
Yeah, they did a great job really there.
Good. And she ends up spitting the glass and blood at Beth, and Beth kind of backs up, and Beth ends up kind of falling to the floor, and this gives time for Bridget to like jump on the jump because she was on the counter, right?
Yeah, she like kind of slithers down onto the floor. She like throws her upper body, but her lower body's still up on the counter, and then she like plops down. It was really kind of cool. Props to the actress because that looked like not an easy thing to do.
Yeah. And she ends up walking towards her, and Beth's like backing up, and then Beth tries to run out, but she ends up just it's more of a crawl out, my bad. And that's whenever fucking Bridget grabs a cheese grater because Beth throws a cheese grater at her and she catches it in her hand and then just like slams it on her fucking calf and just drags it down.
Cheese grates her calf.
Yeah.
Ooh, one of the gnarliest scenes in this film.
I couldn't imagine the pain that would feel like. No.
Because it's like got to be like 1,000 tiny paper cuts or something.
Yeah.
Like,
and
because it's like pretty superficial.
I've cut my fingers like cheese grating before, and that's like really fucking painful.
Yeah,
so
but to have it done on your whole calf. And,
yeah, so that's like 10 times like, and so, you know, obviously Miss Beth screams. She's trying to get out of the kitchen. And that's whenever we have Bridget coming out of the room and she starts to attack Danny because Danny pops up, and then Danny like runs to the bedroom, but she bursts through the door and she runs towards Cassie, and poor Cassie has to defend herself, and she turns Daphne around and it just goes right through Bridget's head.
Mouth.
Yeah.
Yep. And it goes through, just so that break that we had earlier came in handy as it was able, and Daphne did protect them after all.
She did. And Bridget just pulls it out. She looks at Beth and then just kind of flops over. And then we see Cassie's like looks just fucking traumatized.
Yeah, as she should be.
Yeah, and then like Beth is like, "You're gonna be okay, whatever. Nothing's gonna happen." And then Cassie's like, "You're gonna be a good mom because you know how to lie to kids."
Yeah, because she was like, "Is this a nightmare?"
Yeah.
And then Auntie Beth was like,
"Yep.
Yeah, this is all just like a bad nightmare." And yeah, then she says that.
And so then we get Bridget wrapped up because Danny thought it'd be a good idea to wrap her up, which honestly kind of was.
It was, yeah.
Until it didn't work.
Until it didn't work, yeah.
But that's not on him. I mean, it's kind of just the Evil Dead. They're pretty hella strong. And also like the power of demons because she was floating. But anyways, this is whenever Beth is like, you know what? I'm going to listen to the records by myself because whatever words were on there and started this, there might be something on there to help me figure this out and put an end to it. So I still would have put the headphones on and like had them in the room with me, like but she ends up closing the door and leaving them alone.
Yeah.
And that's whenever we have her listening to the records, and basically we get from Father Marcus that like the other two priests got taken over. All the other priests that tried to help, like the evil spread to them without rhyme or reason. It cannot be destroyed because he tried to set it on fire, and then they danced in the flames and reveled in their evilness. And so basically he said
saying the only thing you can do is to keep this book buried and then run.
Yeah. And then to take care of like his, for priests, friends, and all them who had been taken over, he's like the only way he could find to like end it at all is dismemberment.
Yep.
And so,
and all the while that's happening, Bridget gets up behind them, and Ellie, is crawling through the air ducts like the little kitty did. At first I thought she was going to kill the kitty, and then I remembered, oh no, she's just using the air ducts to get in, which was even scarier.
Yeah.
Well,
no. Kitty dying would be pretty bad.
Kitty dying would be pretty scary.
That kitty never came into it. The cat never, like, I guess.
Cat had one scene.
Yeah, we only got, and I guess they gave us that information because they wanted us to know that people or something could fit up in the ducts for later.
Yeah.
But I was also kind of let down that a cat never came into the movie. I would have liked to seen Kitty, not die, but seen a kitty.
Seen a kitty more. I mean, you get one shot of the kitty.
Yeah.
And
wait, when?
There was. It's a little orange kitty. You see it meowing up there, and then she looks up at it, and that's when she gets the idea.
Oh, I just heard it. I never saw them.
It's like a quick flash.
Oh, okay.
It's only up there for like maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, you were probably right.
Taking a note because I remember hearing it, and that's why I thought she got the idea, not that she saw it. Okay,
she
my bad.
heard it and she could see it.
Okay.
But anyways,
yes.
Ellie's entering the room through the air ducts, and then Bridget gets up behind the other two kids, and she basically corners Danny and stabs him in the arm. Oh, that looked like such a painful spot to be stabbed.
Yeah, she's got him pinned down as well.
Yeah, because he's like stuck to the countertop now. And then she just pukes blood on it, like spews blood onto him. Yeah. And his whole face is covered, and he obviously gets infected with that.
Yeah, that kind of sealed his fate. But then she also like stabs him in the fucking chest, which is just like kind of like if he wouldn't have died Like, well, he was dying. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. He died from the stab in the chest, but then he got resurrected by the evilness because she puked on him.
Yeah.
Because we all know that's how it happens.
It's
Like
like
the blood or the puke. Yeah.
Which makes me think at the end too, because Beth got covered
And all that blood.
in the blood.
And so did Cassie.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I wonder if that blood was like more of an imagination thing, like not really there, but kind of like it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but whenever Beth is putting them into that wood chipper, she gets blood covered all over her from that.
Yeah.
And so I was like, because if little homegirl Jessica could get in, just by like walking over there.
Yeah, it gives that they're not home free.
Yeah.
And I would love, and I don't know what their intentions are, but because it's at Evil Dead Rise, I would love like some sort of part 2.
Yeah.
Or like if there is a sequel, for it to be an exact continuation of this storyline.
Yeah.
It could even give us 2. It could give us what happened with Beth and Cassie, and also just take off where it ended at the opening and have what happens with Jessica and like where does she go then and like
and does she take over the world
does
or
it
something?
spread
But yeah, then so I love how whenever Ellie gets into the room, she like makes herself a little speaker. Makes herself the speaker.
Like Stitch.
Yeah. And she just like puts her finger on the record and opens her mouth, and then it's like blah, 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 blah. But it was actual like Latin and words coming out of her mouth.
Beth just thinks that a stab with a screwdriver to the neck is going to do it. Because she just like, and then I love how 2 seconds later, we just have Beth getting thrown through the fucking the French doors.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so at this point,
thrown onto the ground where we can see poor Cassie just hiding under the sofa.
And then Danny
next to the scissors
is obviously dying because he just got fucking stabbed. And he comes out and he's looking at Cassie. He's like, "I'm sorry, Kathy." And he dies in Beth's arms. And then that's whenever we have Miss Ellie coming out. And she's like, "I will swallow your soul."
And then she goes, 2 souls? As we hear the little heartbeat of a baby.
Yeah.
And then she starts
digging her fingernails into her abdomen.
And she says, "Ellie waits in hell for you and your unborn bastard baby."
Yeah. And thankfully Cassie is underneath the sofa where she had thrown those scissors or kept those scissors earlier. So she tosses them over to Beth, and Beth is able to stab Ellie in the face. Pretty gnarly.
Through the nose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like gets one of the shears side of it up her nose. Ugh.
Probably right in the brain.
Yeah.
And so that's whenever we have Cassie and Beth trying to make a run for it. They go out. They're trying to go to the elevator. They get in the elevator, but at this point they can't leave because it won't opening and closing. But that's whenever the mom Ellie comes out, and she's like, "I love you. Don't take my baby. Don't take him away from me."
It was kind of a jump scare when she goes, "Bethy boo!"
Yeah,
and like runs at her with both of her arms extended and was like, "Wah."
And she's like, "Don't." Because
they're trying to get through the fire escape too. They were trying to do that part first.
Right. That's right.
And then they were gonna shoot it with the shotgun and stuff like that. And so that's why she had the shotgun in her hands and blows off her leg. And then that's
her arm.
Leg first, and then the arm. Whenever she's like,
whenever the neighbor starts to pull at her.
Yeah, pulls at her leg, and then this is when they get into the elevator, and she says, "Everybody here dies by dawn, Beth." And then the kids have come out. They're crying over the mom's dead body, or not dead, but undead body, and then everyone starts chanting, "Dead by dawn."
Even all the neighbors, and they start to like get together. You can see Cassie gets the keys from out of the doorway, so that way the elevator door can shut, and so that's how they're able to start to lock it up. And then, but it's not really working, and then that's whenever it starts filling up with blood.
Yep, starts to fill with blood, which was pretty nasty looking.
Yeah, very what's the word? The Shining.
Yeah. Especially whenever it drops at the bottom.
Yeah.
I was like, how very Shining of them.
And so, because we're in there, we're getting it full of blood. We have then the same time, the mom and Bridget and Danny are like conglomerating together to make some super beast that we see in the book as the pages turn. And then we have
demons start chanting "No way out."
And they go into the ducts and they get into the elevator, and that's whenever we have the blood going all the way up, and Cassie and Beth start to like try to get the hatch open.
Maximum capacity of 6
Oh,
people
yeah.
or 900 pounds or something like that.
Gets
but
exceeded.
with all that blood
And
and
so it
all the
just
people on
drops.
top. Yep. The
And-
elevator wire snaps. And this was when I was like, what is it with these elevator movies? Come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Elevator in these movies.
And so it just goes all the way to the bottom, and that's whenever we have the elevator doors opening up, and all the blood just spews out. We have Cassie and Beth spewing out. Beth comes out, immediately checks on Cassie. Thankfully, Cassie is alive, even though she's like, "Am I dead?"
Yeah, I love that when
it's
she's
so
like, "Am I
funny.
dead?" That
And
was
then
hilarious.
They try to leave. They get out. They go to the car, and they get in the car and turn it on. They try to leave, but okay. And then that's whenever they're stepping on the gas, but they end up on like a pothole or like the cracks of whenever.
Yeah, they get stuck in like the wreckage from the earthquake.
Yeah.
Basically when the ground split. And then Cassie looks over her shoulder. We see that the double doors are now swinging, and she was like, "It's coming."
Yeah.
And then they get out. I love the shot as like Beth puts her head out the window, and then we get that first person POV coming up to look into the window,
Yeah.
and then they're gone out of the car.
Happen
That was
very
really
fast.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then we have them sitting next to the, on the side of the car, trying to hide from this monster. Because I didn't know what else to call it. It's a deadite, I guess, but it looks more like a monster, but it's a deadite. And they end up getting seen by it, and so they end up running, and they see that the gate is going up, and so they run to try to make it, but Beth makes it out, but Cassie gets pulled away
Right under at the last second.
by the deadite, and so she has to get back in there, so she starts kicking in like the gate to get back in as Cassie gets taken to the back of a bus where the wood chipper is. Did you see an AUP?
I did.
And
I
so
think it was like a butterfly or something.
and so they get up this high, huh?
I know, that's what I was thinking. I was like, wow.
Yeah. And so that they go to space. And so that's whenever we have Beth getting back in, and she's trying to go help Cassie, and she thankfully gets there in the nick of time because the deadite grabbed a chainsaw and was about to chainsaw freaking Cassie
in the head.
But-
She said, "All I want is your little head, baby girl."
Yeah, and then thankfully Beth shoots the deadite, but as she does that and gets its attention, it fucking throws the chainsaw at her.
Which was terrifying.
Yeah, very much
I was
so.
like,
Because
oh
it
my
narrowly
God.
misses her.
Yeah.
And then it's not even just like her just like ducking down. She like has to like throw herself off. So she like falls all the way back onto the concrete. And that's whenever we have the deadite coming after her.
and
it
they're
turns
trying
around.
to shove her into the wood chipper.
Yeah.
But thankfully, because we see what was Bridget turn on her part of the body, turn on the wood chipper, and they start like trying to push her in. But then thankfully little Cassie comes just in time and turns it off.
Yeah.
And then
Aunt Beth grabs the chainsaw, and she's like has this like now power stance mode, and it's like this is the turn in the movie, and she yells at Cassie, and she's like, "Turn it on!"
yeah, very like her voice at first was like so high pitched.
Yeah.
It's like a shriek
Yeah.
as it came out.
And turn it on, Cassie. And Cassie turns back on the wood chipper, and with the chainsaw, she's able to kind of like cut into the deadite monster body, and it's like pushing them back at the same time. And
Yeah.
so their hind legs get sucked into the wood chipper, and they're
you're just
getting
watching them
eviscerated,
get like
emulsified.
eat up, and then it's like a little car wash of blood. I loved the
Yeah.
scene from inside the car where it just looked like exactly like when you're in a car wash, and it was
Yeah.
just blood
Mhm.
spewing
Everywhere,
down.
all over the place.
Yeah, it was really cool.
All over them.
And then she gets that chainsaw, and after we've watched it kind of absorb the part of the deadite that was
The kids.
Danny and
Mhm.
Bridget. Yeah, and then it's only Ellie's head that's really left. And Beth drives that chainsaw through Ellie's head and is just, and all the while Ellie's still like fucking with
Mocking
her.
her. Yeah.
Being like, "You look like mom. You're just like mom."
You're gonna
kind of
fuck
thing.
up just like her.
Yeah. And it was
Mhm.
like, damn, bitch. But
So it gave no hesitation to Beth to just like fucking yeet her into the chainsaw
to put the
machine.
rest of her
Or
body in there.
wood chipper,
She was
yeah.
like, "Just shut up."
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Because
Cassie,
she's like, because she calls her Bethy Boo finally one last time, and she's like, only my sister gets to
can
call me that. Yeah.
yeah. And then we get Cassie and Beth surviving, and it kind of fades out with a little picture of the family on a roller coaster that was on the little keychain in the ignition. And then we are back with Jessica on the 5th floor. She's getting ready for this trip like nothing happened last night.
I love how she's even on the phone and she's telling them like, yeah, there was all these loud noises last night and like I
didn't
just
get a
couldn't
wink of
wink of sleep. Like, what the fuck? You didn't hear all that shit going on?
Yeah, you didn't hear screaming and gunshots, and she was like, it was a lot of thunder.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe the storm was loud enough.
Maybe.
But who knows?
Yeah.
I feel like you could still hear a rifle shot.
And so she ends up getting out. And then that's whenever she gets to the garage and she's about to get in the car. We see she's FaceTiming with Teresa. She gets off of it. And then, like, as she's about to leave, she fixed the rear view mirror. And that's whenever we can see, like, there's blood everywhere. There's a fucking car and the wood chipper, all that stuff. So she gets out. She's taking a look and she's like, what the hell happened here? And then from all angles, we get, like, the Evil Dead coming in, the POV shot, and it like comes right to her, and that's the end
of the movie.
Yes,
it was a good movie. How many boos would you give this movie?
I would give the Evil Dead Rise 5 boos.
5 boos?
5
wow.
boos. I liked it a lot.
Yeah. Tell me why.
I liked it because I really enjoyed the pacing of it. I thought it did well for an hour and 36 minutes to keep everything like in a good way where it didn't feel rushed and the characters felt fleshed out, and we got even the beginning with the kids and the mom. We see like this family and we see like it's all very relatable very quickly. We grow with them. We know who these siblings are. We see the mom. We very quickly understand who she is because they do such a good job of like, they laid out like all the artwork. They laid out the way this house is. Like, I can see this family and who they are. This eccentric artist mom who had probably an eccentric artist husband. And then how even Beth was like, you and Jay have been here for years. Like early, when she was talking about them being there. And then Beth as well. She seemed like such a fully fledged character by us only getting maybe like not even that much back. We know nothing of Beth. Honestly, we knew nothing. We only knew that she was pregnant. She didn't want to be necessarily pregnant and that she's an aunt and had a pretty cool job.
But it made us feel like we knew her regardless.
But I kind of knew even more of like that character. Like I know like she likes to have a good time. Like she's the fun person. She's
a fun aunt. She's a cool aunt who goes to Thailand and Bangladesh.
And has probably nothing that keeps her tied down and like has these very cool stories, but loves really hard, and loves them a lot. Because she comes back to them all the time. But anyways, we have then like the Deadite and the evilness. And then I loved how like we got to hear Father Marcus on the record. The practical effects and the special effects, everything looked really good. I really liked the mom when she was evil. I really liked all the like the quips and like all the little nods that they had to make it feel comedic, like how even in the first Evil Deads were, because even though they are horror movies, they have this like sense of comedy infused into them, that they're like in on the joke of. And I really enjoyed the ending was badass. And like, I mean, it's really sad because it's like you really think about it and it's like, did they really survive? Because they just like literally had to kill their family members.
Yeah.
So like it's gonna be a lifetime worth of trauma.
Yeah, poor Cassie.
Yeah, especially Cassie. She's gonna be fucked up. That's all I'm saying. Like
poor girl.
There's no way she's not gonna be fucked up. And that's even if they don't have the demons inside them. Yeah. So it's really cool. It's really cool for them to take an original kind of idea from back then and really bring it into now and make it feel like it wasn't forced and like it wasn't like, oh, this is kind of lame because they're trying to make fetch happen. Stop trying to make fetch happen. It didn't. It felt cool, natural, and like a reinvigoration into the saga, the franchise. Sorry, but that's it. That's why I gave it 5 stars.
Interesting. I agree.
And you?
Before you do that, can I jump in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I didn't realize you guys were reviewing this one today. Otherwise, I probably would have sat in the room with you.
Oh, no.
But so no, you're good. This, I mean, these are my favorite movies, right? So The Evil Dead is great, but Evil Dead 2 is my all-time favorite movie.
I have a fun fact about The Evil Dead 2.
That's very nice.
I'll tell you.
Go for it.
It says the pizza place is called Henrietta's, a reference to Henrietta Nobi, the demon in the basement in Evil Dead 2.
Yeah, that was the explorer's wife.
Yeah.
So I was a little apprehensive, especially after the first Evil Dead remake
from 2013.
Yeah, that was a good movie, but it wasn't Evil Dead. You know, I mean, it wasn't the same thing. This feels like Evil Dead. This feels like a Sam Raimi movie. It feels like, you know, you mentioned the comedy aspects and stuff like that. It's all in there. There is no better way to get rid of people than with a wood chipper. And so, I mean, I love that.
And honestly, kind of like I was thinking too that the Deadite and like the demon, you know, Ellie herself almost kind of, while it was a much better iteration of it, like practical effects wise, she almost looked like the original ones.
She does, yeah, with the sunken eyes,
oh yeah,
the stretched face kind of thing. Yeah. No, I thought they did a great job, and you know, this is probably one of your fun facts, and I'll probably screw it up, but the guy that directed it, this is all he's ever wanted to do. He said was make an Evil Dead movie. And so
that's cool.
To be able to direct something like this, you know, it's coming from a true fan, you know, and I think that goes a long ways. I mean, you don't want any fan doing it, but a fan that's a good director, great, you know.
Yeah.
I heard a lot about the cheese grater thing before I watched it. I did not go see this in theater. I watched it at home.
It was originally meant to be an HBO Max via direct to
really?
streaming. Yep.
Oh, see, I
but it
didn't know
performed
that.
so strongly during the test screenings that the studio decided to release it theatrically instead.
I cannot imagine that they won't do more of these, and I welcome them because it feels like a fleshing out of the genre or the subject matter, like you said.
Yeah. Like I would love for them to bring out like the other volumes and then like incorporate into like a whole storyline.
You got it.
Yeah.
You got
to
it.
see each
I would
of the
love
books.
to do like prequels and the whole thing, right? And did you know, again, it may be one of your facts, but Bruce Campbell is one of the voices on the record.
Yeah.
I did know that.
Okay, good.
This is not one of the facts that I had, but I did know that.
Well, it's not as fun as you would said, but yeah, he's one of the guys on the record screaming or whatever. So it's not like you're going to be able to tell who he is or anything.
But they brought him back in that way.
Yeah, I think it was handled really well. And these people that are out there that are like, yeah, but what about the time shift and blah blah blah? No, screw you. This is a big cartoon. You know, that's all Evil Dead was ever meant to be, was a big cartoon. And so if somebody gets hurt in one scene, they come back the next scene, they're all healed. You know, that's whatever. That's great because nobody else is doing that. You know, nobody does that. So I give it 5 boos, 5 stars, whatever you want to call it, because I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good, and it exceeded my expectations.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's good.
All right, now back to your regularly scheduled show.
Yay.
And did you have another
from
fun
Mike
fact?
the God.
Yes.
Yes. Director Lee Cronin stated in an interview that 6,500 liters or
of the blood
1,720 gallons of fake blood were used for the movie.
Wow.
And then to get into character of the alternate personality, actress Alyssa Sutherland, who played Ellie, took inspiration from Jim Carrey's performance as Stanley Ipkiss in The Mask.
The Mask. Yeah, I can see that.
And then the film opens with the sound of a fly. This is the same exact sound used throughout different entries, dating all the way back to the original in the franchise, and has become a tradition to appear at least once.
Well, that's cool.
In all the films.
Yeah.
So those are some cool ones that I thought.
Like Mike said, it's really awesome too to have someone who loves the films and the series to like take the helm and to be able to pay such homage to like the originals and not like really just like trash or like
shit all over.
Yeah, like they really take it with like a huge like, well, this is a big responsibility. Like I want to, you know, live up to it or make it better. If not, because then like, what's the point? If not to add or make it better. You know what I mean? Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. I think
2.5.
No, no. I'm debating whether or not to give it a 5 now, just to make it an easy, nice round 5. I did really enjoy this movie, and I enjoyed it much more on the second watch, having watched the original. Now I still haven't seen Evil Dead 2, so
I know now that dead and dad got me. So now
Dead
that
Dad.
Mike talked about 2, we should probably watch 2.
Yeah, we should.
And then we can
cover
have
that
him
soon.
on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, let's do that for one of our Halloween movies.
We'll do it. Listener request from Mike.
Listener request from Mike. We'll do it. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and give it a 5 as well. My original thought was like a 4.5. But you know what? Talking through it, I really appreciate all the thought that went into it. All of the little, like we said, Easter eggs and nods that were throughout everything. It's so clever, and I love when a film can do that. And I love when a film just like we love the Scream franchise, as Josh cradles his baby Ghostface that finally came in the mail for us. We love when a movie can be in on the joke, and that's what these films do, and they do a wonderful job of that.
Man, her spitting that eyeball into that kid's mouth, hilarious, dude. Hilarious. Like, and in the midst of like all the chaos happening, because she's literally ripping a dude's face off, she's literally killing kids. So the fact that you can find some levity in the fact that like she's literally killing a child, but like she made him choked on the eyeball. That's funny.
And that's hilarious. Yeah, no, that is great. And the practical and special effects, all the effects in this film were just next level. Like the absolute gore in this film was so well done and all so believable. Like none of it made me question like, ooh, that looked really fake.
Like that fake blood from Smile.
Yeah, but like the blood coming in through the elevator and stuff, the way it looked so viscous.
Yeah.
And it was so red and
and I even love the shots whenever, to add on to that, whenever Beth was in the garage and we have those last moments with the witch up and the blood is all over her. Like it looks so like, it looks like editorial. Like she could have been, those were shots for a magazine. You know what I mean? Like the way
some bits of it where I was like damn, she's
like
still, how is she still looking pretty?
How's she hot but covered in blood? Yeah.
And even Cassie, she looked like a cute little innocent girl just covered in blood.
Like the way they got it on them was so like perfect. I don't know.
Yeah, they did a great job. So yeah, I'll give it a 5 as well for 2023's Evil Dead Rise.
Evil Dead Rise.
Yes. So as always,
we are in the lovely Rogue Media Network studio.
That's right. They take great care of us. And you can listen to us or all of the other amazing podcasts on this network all in one central place. And that is
at roguemedianetwork.com.
And then you can also listen to us on any of your streaming platforms that your little heart desires. But the biggest two are
Spotify
and also Apple. But wherever you do listen, don't forget to
rate, review, and subscribe.
That's right. And then also word of mouth. Tell your friends, tell your families, tell your Scream plushies, tell your Scream popcorn tubs, tell whoever you can tell.
And your drinking cups.
Ghostface just talked to you through the microphone. Rub his face on it. That's Ghostface. But you can, word of mouth, tell your friends. And so that way we can show up in more people's feeds. And then, if you want to reach out to us, let us know what films you want us to cover for the Halloween season. Remember, we come out with 2 episodes a week for that. So
coming right in the corner.
Coming right around the corner. Let us know what you want to be covered.
Slide in our DMs.
And you can do that on our one social media platform, which is Instagram at
BooBaes Podcast, and that's at BOOBAES, because we're your BooBaes, not your BooBabes.
That's right. And next time we're actually covering
The Nun.
The Nun.
Finally, after telling you we were going to do that 3 episodes ago.
We'll be covering The Nun in what is the word I'm thinking of?
Oh, what do you mean?
In preparation.
In preparation of The Nun 2.
The Nun 2 coming out September 9th.
Yeah, I believe so. Either 8th or 9th, but it's coming up. It's going to be in the next week.
Yeah. So
it'll be the week that our episode drops. So it'll be the 8th.
The 8th.
So our Nun episode will come out the 5th and Nun 2 will come out the 8th. So if you haven't seen it or if you need a refresher, you can listen to our episode so you can go into the Nun 2 fully knowing everything that happened.
That's right.
Yes.
And
because it is a direct sequel.
I'm excited. I've never seen The Nun. So I'm excited to watch it. And
it's got Thaisa Farmiga. It's got a bunch of good people in it.
Oh, cool.
Actors, yeah.
Yeah. Be excited to go watch it.
So until
next time, you guys.
Bye, baes.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.